I'd like to start today with a confession. About a minute ago, I was waiting for my turn, trying to look perfectly calm. But biologically speaking, I was a total chemical disaster. My heart was doing this frantic drum solo, my palms were shaking, and I'm pretty sure I completely forgot how the human respiratory system works. Hello, my name is Aaliya Masood. I'm a student here at Pristine Private School. Standing here right now, I have anchored myself in a piece of science that has completely changed the way I look at my own mind. A concept I call the 91st second. According to Harvard-trained neuroanatomist Dr. Jill Bolt Taylor, whenever we feel a massive surge of emotions, whether it is the absolute terror of giving a TED Talk or sudden road rage in morning traffic, those chemical reactions only actually last in our bodies for 90 seconds. It takes exactly a minute and a half for those stress hormones to flood our systems, peak, and then flush out of our bloodstreams completely. Total time taken? 90 seconds. So if you're still furious at someone 2 hours after they cut you off, or if you're still replaying an argument in your head in the shower from 3 weeks ago, then that's not biology. That's just you. You are hitting the replay button on that chemical loop. You are holding the lightning long after the storm has passed, effectively losing your own compass. And this is what happens to so many of us. We treat our temporary feelings like a permanent roadmap. We say things like, oh, I can't pitch that project because I'm feeling insecure, or I can't make peace with that person because I'm still in my feelings. However, we need to realize that our feelings, they're just a temporary weather pattern. And if you try to sail across the ocean using the wind instead of the stars, then you're just going to get dizzy. This isn't just a personal problem, though. It's a human one. If we look back to the summer of 1914, the entire world made this exact mistake. A chauffeur in Sarajevo took a single wrong turn, a 19-year-old with a pistol in his hand got nervous, panicked, pulled the trigger, and in weeks, Europe was in flames with the First World War. Historians love to argue about treaties, complex alliances, economic friction. But if we look at the actual minutes before the declarations of war, we realize something terrifying. We see that the frantic telegrams flying between the world leaders in those final hours, it wasn't strategy. It was a high-stress game of psychological chicken. The panic of the crowd, the intense chaos, everyone was just reacting to it. They were trying to match each other's chaos. Human history is quite literally a bloody catalog of permanent, catastrophic decisions made simply because people could not survive a temporary 90-second micro moment of intense pressure. We look back at 1914 and think, oh, we're smarter now. We think we have evolved past that primitive reflex. However, we haven't upgraded the human brain. We've just given our panic a software update. The only difference between us and the people who stumbled into global conflicts back then is that they rode horses to deliver their bad decisions, and we have 5G. Think about how fast it happens now. A notification pops up, a chemical spike hits your bloodstream, and within that single 90-second window, the damage, it's already done. You fire up a toxic text you can't take back. You delete a post in a fit of tab closing insecurity. You break up years of friendship over a miscommunicated comment. You alienate someone you truly care about simply because you couldn't control your anger. 90 seconds is all it takes to burn down years of trust, completely blindsided by momentary storm. And we are doing this to ourselves constantly because we have built a multi-trillion-dollar digital infrastructure that is designed to monetize that exact impulse. Global data shows that an average teenager now spends upwards 4 hours and 43 minutes on social media every single day. And if you were to see my weekly screen time report, well, it regularly insults my intelligence, so I'm right there in the trenches with you. However, we need to look past the surface of doom scrolling. We need to see the actual architecture. Algorithms are mathematically engineered to weaponize our primitive drive for social proof inside the 90-second window. The system knows that if it can trigger an instantaneous emotional reaction, it bypasses your rational mind completely. Every instant refresh cycle creates overlapping loops of chemical spikes. You think you are participating in a conversation, but you are actually just manually restarting your anxiety loop over and over again just to keep your eyes on the screen. And doing this constantly, especially during our youth, fundamentally changes our physical biology. And this is because our brains are currently in a state of high neuroplasticity, which is basically a fancy scientific way of saying that our brains are like wet cement. And our prefrontal cortex, which is the region that handles critical logic and impulsive thinking, is currently still under construction. And it won't completely develop until the age of 25. So that means that we are physically drawing out the blueprints of our adult minds in real time. Every single time you choose to hit replay on that 90-second anxiety loop or instantly react to a notification to appease the crowd, you are carving a permanent high-speed highway into your head. And this means that you are literally wiring yourself to be a reactive bystander in your own life? Now, looking around this room, I see a lot of incredibly accomplished people. People with big titles, impressive degrees, and most importantly, a driver's license. I don't have one of those yet. I'm still at that lovely stage of youth wherein I'm required to have my parents drive me around. However, trying to navigate my life during this pivotal point has made me realize that the ultimate test of control isn't behind the wheel of a car. It is behind the mechanics of the human brain. Because the exact moment that you are hit with an intense emotional trigger, your survival instinct launches a hostile takeover of your rational mind. Your logic completely shuts down and your vision narrows into absolute panic. But when you force yourself to take a step back and wait out those initial 90 seconds, you are executing a precise intervention. By using a technique called name it to tame it, you mentally label what you are feeling internally. The moment you state to yourself, I am currently experiencing a high rush of adrenaline, and I won't be affected by this, the dynamic completely shifts. You stop riding the wave and instead start observing it. You clear out the internal traffic and force your rational mind back online and transition from a blind defense mechanism to absolute clarity. And the proof, it isn't just theoretical, it's measurable. The research on emotion and decision-making by Dr. Jennifer Lerner at Harvard University reveals a phenomenon called incidental anxiety. Her data proves that when we make choices, While trapped inside that immediate temporary wave of stress, our judgment becomes polluted. We systematically miscalculate risks, rely on terrible advice, and make massive defensive concessions just to escape momentary discomfort. Forcing a pause isn't just passive waiting. It is the active defense mechanism that keeps your logic unpolluted. And it is within that unpolluted, clean space that we have to make decisions that actually matter in our lives. We spend so much of our time trying to navigate our daily choices, trying to satisfy the immediate crowd around us, bosses, peers, society. But if you look at the larger aspect of human life and regret, I've come to believe that there are only two people that we should ever truly aim to please: the 8-year-old version of ourselves and the 80-year-old version of ourselves. If the 8-year-old version of you can look up to who you are today and say, wow, we grew up to be that brave, you win. And if the 80-year-old version of you sitting on a rocking chair at the end of the road can smile peacefully and say, thank you for not letting fear hold us back, you win. Because those two versions of you don't care about a silly 90-second spike of temporary emotion, what a stressful boss thought of you on a Tuesday, or what a random profile thinks of you on your own feed about your own life. They just want to look at you and smile, knowing that you had the courage to walk your own path. So my challenge to you today is to master the 91st second. The next time a wave of anger, self-doubt, or fear hits you, don't send a text. Don't post a comment. And please, don't quit the dream. Count to 90. Let biology do its own thing. Let your rational mind take the wheel, and then choose your path. Fix your access, rewire your road, and keep driving. Even if, like me, you still need your dad to drive you home after this. Thank you.